Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Lefty. Hey, Lefty, what you say?
What's up, Irish fans? Welcome into the SLANT for the Lucky Lefty podcast. I am Shaun Davis. You see right there at SD2 Mics. Of course, the original Lucky Lefty. That guy. Other way.
Other way. Either way it go, we spin it different, you know?
We spin it different. That is Malik Zaire at Overtime. Malik. So each week on the SLANT, we discuss Brian Kelly, put a nice little bow on the previous game. Look forward to the upcoming game just a little bit because we still have our preview coming up.
Yep.
But we want to talk about some of the things Brian Kelly mentioned in his press conference on Monday. The funniest thing I heard from Brian Kelly, which I thought was like, I used to produce, I produce radio. Mm-hmm. So we used to produce this segment called Petty Junction. Right?
Okay. I like how it sounds already.
We would take little bites that people said over the week and, put them on the petty train. Like, you know what? I have to put Brian Kelly on the petty train this week.
You got to put him on there.
He called Desmond Ridder a sneaky, accurate passer. I said, that's so sneaky. That's
a sneaky comment.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Just, if you think he's accurate, just say he's accurate.
Just call him accurate.
What is sneaky accurate? Like, he's really not accurate, but every now and then he'll sneak up on
you and go 10 for 10.
Right. So, yeah, throw Brian Kelly on the petty train. But, of course, as always, any coach very complimentary of the number 8 Cincinnati Bearcats as they get ready to come into South Bend on Saturday to face the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Brian Kelly seems to be, and each week, very confident because he's seeming to get an understanding of what he has. And he's talked about that a couple of times in press conferences. The 2 seasons before, he knew the team he had. He knew that they were going to depend on the running game. He had a very experienced offensive line, solid defense, and then they had Ian Book, who was a very good signal caller, leading the way. A lot of variables, a lot of unknowns coming to the season. Really didn't know what he had. New defensive coordinator, installing a new system. But he seems to be very happy, especially with the defensive side of the ball. But at the same time, he seems to be very happy with the progress that's being made by the offensive unit and the offensive line. And like you said, Irish fans, you've been used to having great offensive lines. Now, welcome to your average offensive line in college football. This is what it is, And I think, honestly, if you go back and you look at the tape of the Cincinnati-Indiana game, I'm sure Bearcats fans are saying, yo, our O-line didn't play well that game.
Yeah. And honestly, that's the good thing about teams coached by Brian Kelly is that you're going to get better week to week, even if it's incrementally. So we didn't take a giant step forward after the Purdue game, but we did get a little bit closer and more prepared for the Wisconsin game. And then big matchup against Wisconsin. We played well and we won that game, and it just seems like we're starting to catch a head of steam. To be one of the last 20 or so teams that's still unbeaten in college football, that's something that's right on pace for us, what we wanted to expect. But now it's just coming down to how can we take that next level and really define ourselves into being what are the real threats each and every week. We've been doing a good job of mixing it up.
Yeah.
But this is another good opportunity against a ranked team, especially a team that's really hot right now, to establish how we can show where we are on the scale. There's Alabama, and then there's everybody else. We could at least be the midway point between everybody else and that next team. So Cincinnati got a great matchup. I like the attitude that teams like Cincinnati has. I'm from Dayton, so I'm excited to see the hometown team at least put up a fight. But they think they're going to win, which is good. I like the confidence, but it's another opportunity for us to get some good points if we want to look towards the end of the season and getting the playoffs.
We're going to talk about some trash talk coming from the Cincinnati side in a little bit, but you just pointed out a very good team. And I don't want to say a very good non-Power 5 team, because I just view that as being disrespectful. These guys are good enough to own Division I scholarships and develop great coaching. As you said, Mike Denbrock is over there, the OC, and they have talent. Like Sugar is one of the best defensive backs in all of college football. Will be a challenge for Kevin Austin. Desmond Ridder, the quarterback, despite what Brian Kelly said, he can beat you through the air. He can beat you with his legs. And then Jerome Ford is a problem on the ground if you allow him to get loose. And even more than that, see, let me take you back to, you like the Avengers?
Yeah, I like the Avengers. Talk to me.
So, do you remember Endgame?
Yeah.
When they were trying to go back in time and get the Infinity Stones?
Okay.
Bring everybody back.
Mm-hmm.
And they go to the temple in New York. And it predates Doctor Strange taking over. And his master was there. And the Hulk was trying to get the Infinity Stones. And she explained to him, like, yo, if you throw a pebble into this stream, it gives an alternative outcome, an alternative stream. And you look at that game against Indiana, that special teams for them was that pebble being thrown into the stream, because the flow of that game, Indiana had control of that game.
They did.
Indiana should have been up 21-0.
Should have.
Right? They threw an interception in the end zone.
Interception is, yeah.
And they still were up 14-0 after that. Like they thoroughly outplayed
it right there, yeah.
Thoroughly outplayed Cincinnati. So the flow of the game was all in the favor of the Indiana Hoosiers. And then here comes big punt return, big kickoff return for Cincinnati. The pebble enters the stream. Here comes an alternative outcome. All of a sudden, Cincinnati's back in the game, and they take control late. So, and we saw that as Irish fans on Saturday, because the flow of that game was close fourth quarter game. Whoever has the ball last has a chance to win the game.
That's right.
Enter Chris Tyree.
And he
totally changed the flow. He totally changed the flow. He threw a pebble into the flow of that game, and it gave an alternate route. And no one expected a blowout. No one expected a blowout at the beginning of the fourth quarter. But that special teams play created that. And that's created. So those are the things that we have to look out for. Not so much, yes, Cincinnati's a good team. Let's be real. The same thing we said about Wisconsin. Yeah. Notre Dame is the better team.
Yeah, we're the better
player
team.
By player. Notre Dame's the better team, player by player.
By far.
I understand they had Desmond Ridder. I understand they had Jerome Ford. I understand they had Sugar. I understand they had some other good DBs.
Still,
Notre Dame
Michael Mayer. Like,
who's better team, player by player.
Player by player.
All right. And the only thing that can stop the flow of how this game should go
is special teams.
Special teams and turnovers.
We're gonna have a turnover too.
Well, both teams, Notre Dame is actually +6 in turnovers. Cincinnati is +3. Cincinnati's turned the ball over a lot. They didn't play last week, and they had 6 turnovers. Now
they're going to watch that film and look at where number 14 is all game, but he's still going to be an impact because Cincinnati's not afraid to throw it downfield. However,
right.
Maybe they change it up with number 14 back there. Denbrock knows who's back there, so we'll see what happens.
Well, then it depends on what Marcus Freeman wants to do. See, this is you dictate, right? As we tell people all the time, you want to dictate to the other team, and when you have a piece like Michael Mayer, you can dictate.
Yeah.
When you have a piece like Kyle Hamilton, you can dictate. So what did they dictate to Wisconsin? You're not throwing to your tight end.
Straight up.
We're taking him away because you know you want to hit him over the middle of the field. Graham Mertz, you can't complete passes outside the hash. It's been proven.
My mom told me I can't talk about Graham Mertz on the internet, so I gotta leave him alone. But he clearly showed that.
What? Wait a minute. What did you say so bad?
I guess I just the fact that I felt like Graham Mertz was going to tank his team out of the top 25 after the game, because he was throwing those pick sixes.
Yeah.
And then I said that, and then he threw another one. So I said instead of 50, it'd be bottom 100.
But no, it's just real talk, man. As we look forward to this game, Irish fans really have to be, I don't want to say thankful, but you really have to be at ease with where this program is. Like, understand what's happening. All of the questions, all of the vitriol, all of the complaints. This team can win 10 to 11 games.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Without question. Like, no one can sit here and tell you there's no chance Notre Dame wins 10, 11 games.
Yeah,
like, you can see it. You look at the schedule, what's left after Cincinnati, and you say to yourself, even if they slip up against Cincinnati, yep, they win 10 to 11 games.
Yeah, we can still win 10 to 11 games.
I'll take it a step further. I'll go out there on this limb by myself. If Notre Dame had the offensive line from last year, they get through this schedule with ease. They blow everybody on this schedule out. If they had last year's offensive line, which means Kyron's running the ball like crazy, and Jack Cole is getting time with these weapons on the outside, none of these games are close. Florida State's not close.
Florida State's not close.
Toledo's not close. Wisconsin, we should have had a bigger lead at halftime than we did.
Yeah.
Cincinnati might be close because they're a good team.
But you never know. Maybe Cincinnati has a bad game. I don't know. Well, I think there's a lot more pressure on them than it is for us, only because Desmond already done set the precedent, making it harder when you're coming in here. So I know Notre Dame fans are going to read that and try to bring some extra energy.
Yeah.
But from a standpoint, I think Cincinnati has more to lose than we would.
This is a program-defining game.
Yeah, seriously.
Program-defining. This is the game. If they come into South Bend and they get smacked, all respect is gone. They can't recover from that.
Lost. Yeah,
all respect is lost. Everybody's going to say
crack the top 15.
Yes. The respect you got from the close game in the Peach Bowl against Georgia that propelled you to be in this position down the drains. Down the drains. Now your head coach is thinking, man, what else is left for me to do here? That's real talk.
Straight up.
Luke Fickell was like, man, is this the peak?
Coach Kelly did it at Cincinnati. He got all the way to Florida and said, I'm out.
Yeah. So this is career defining for Luke Fickell. This is program defining for the Cincinnati Bearcats. That's a lot of pressure. Notre Dame is just running on the field like, yo, it's a home game.
It's another home game. Another game we don't lose at home.
So
that's right. We don't.
Cincinnati will be fired up. They'll be super fired up coming out the gate. Let me tell you a game it reminds me of. And it's really not similar. It's kind of apples and oranges, but the effect of it, the feel it had. I remember when North Carolina State was supposed to be trying to get to the next level in the ACC, trying to compete with Clemson, right? And they had Bradley Chubb, and they had all of these great players, right? And they were coming into South Bend. They were dangerous, this and that. And Notre Dame lined up and just ran the ball down. Like, player for player, Notre Dame knew they would do. We're going to punch you in the mouth.
Just going to run it. They're not going
to run it. We know the game might be close. North Carolina State, how did they change the flow? They got a block punt early in the game for a touchdown. Changed the flow of the game, made the game more competitive. Cincinnati has to do the same thing. Cincinnati has to get something to special teams, something change.
Trick play.
Yeah, trick play, whatever it is. They have to do something. And, you know, people jokingly always say when you walk into Notre Dame Stadium, you have to be at least 10 points better than Notre Dame on that day because of the refs. That's home field advantage everywhere.
Usually refs be giving the other team all types of opportunities. Usually, I think so.
Man, but no, it has a very similar vibe to the North Carolina State team when you have a program coming in trying to prove that they've reached a certain level. And Notre Dame is the litmus test for that program. And Notre Dame is just that's the good thing about being at Notre Dame. This attention and these games are all the time when you're at Notre Dame.
Yeah, we just played on Sunday, the first college football game week.
Yes.
Sunday night. Nobody else
played. Then you come to Chicago. Biggest matchup of
NFL stadium. Yeah, like what
like a week 4. Like this is all the time for Notre Dame. This atmosphere is nothing.
Nothing.
That's what you're used to. Cincinnati, going on the road in Indiana? No. It's gonna be some different. Nah, man. It's going on the road in the AAC. Yeah, going on the road in the AAC. Nah. This is a little bit different.
You gotta come a little bit more north towards
Chicago, a little bit different.
Where it's the right. Flex and you know, we got all the mysticals and traditions. You gotta come up there and see us.
And once again, I'll continue to say this. You know, I know everything changes. The game is a little bit more peaceful. But this is a game that I wish both teams were in the tunnel. I need both teams in the tunnel.
No, I need both coaching staffs in the tunnel.
Yes.
All the coaches in the tunnel. Yes. Kelly with Denbach, face to face. Marcus Freeman would bump into a safety, his old safety is something face to face.
Dude, do you know how amped I used to be? Seeing one team at the front of the tunnel and the other team in the back of the tunnel talking crazy, like, yo,
that's right.
Let's get it.
We used to do that. We used to have to walk down the same way, and when we would walk, we'd have Michigan State on the other side barking and talking crazy and all this stuff going down. It was all Michigan teams did that. And it just made it much better when we ran out because you ran out with some intensity, you know.
Now, you know, we create this little sliver of a hallway for them to the left of the tunnel.
That's intimidating, though. You know, that's a little intimidating. Give them a small entryway. Let you know you by yourself walking in.
Man, that's a very small entryway, bro.
It's like a door for the ushers. You would think all the
referees. Right. Especially if you got a dude 6'5", 330 pounds. That's
squeaking out the door, squeezing out a little door. You know?
That's tough sledding. So, once again, you move forward. This is definitely career defining for Luke Fickell and program defining for Cincinnati. With all of that being said, for you, what's the biggest thing you want to see from Notre Dame, improvement-wise, from Wisconsin to Cincinnati?
Well, this week we're going against a much better quarterback, a potentially drafted type of quarterback. So I want to see what we look like with a guy that's expected to do well. You know, I don't think anybody's expecting Desmond to flop this game. So this will be our toughest quarterback of the season so far. And defensively, I know Marcus Freeman knows a lot about Desmond. So let's see if we can do what we expect. You know, I want to be able to go into a big game, even though is this a top 10 game? Are they top 10?
Yeah, they're both top 10.
Yeah, so a top 10 game. Let's see if we can do a good job with the quarterback. Usually in top games, the better quarterback usually wins for the team.
Yeah.
I think we have a better team, but they may have an advantage slightly in the quarterback position. So we know he already is feeling himself. I think this would be good to respond by shutting that down. You know, if we take away their quarterback, I think defensively they'll have a hard time just keeping up with us all game. So offensively for us, we just got to do what we do. But defensively is that's where I want to see the game really take place.
Now, you know what? The amazing thing about this, I thought about this because expansion is on the way for the college football playoff. And in a season with the expansion, this game might not be or might not take on the magnitude, right? Because you expand to 6 or 18, Cincinnati could lose one and still feel confident that they'll be in.
But that's how it should be. Because
and it's not do or die. Yeah.
It's been so bastardized that you have to be undefeated to even get a chance. And that's how we felt when I was there. It was like if we lose one game, like for instance, when we played Georgia that year, we all knew that if we lost that Georgia game, we wasn't going to the playoffs. And that's week 5. So we know that Notre Dame games, because we're independent specifically, that if we don't win, especially those marquee games, only 1 or 2 that's like top 5, top 10 matchup, then the season's over. It don't matter. That's what's been the problem. We would win 10 games after that, and it wouldn't matter. Or we'll be right on the cusp every time. So now with a bigger expansion, now we get to see maybe potentially what it will look like in a better suit.
Yeah, and it's better not only for Notre Dame, but for non-Power 5 teams. Like you said, like it still will be a big game for Cincinnati because it is Notre Dame. But, you know, their resume would still be comparable with other teams. And they would still probably be a top 15, possibly get back in the top 10 if they lose this game and then run the table. And win the championship game, they can still get into the college football playoffs. My question is, it's a big game, but it would be even bigger if this was, say, the 3-6 matchup in an 18 playoff.
Yeah.
Now you're talking.
But that's what kills me about this as well, is that it goes back to Alabama and everybody else. Cincinnati, if they made the playoffs, let's say right now, they made the playoffs, there was a 6 seed. We know that even if they played Alabama first or second round, that Alabama's crushing them because they're a way better team. So why have a 6-team playoffs when Alabama's clearly better than 3 of the teams that we included extra, without a doubt? It just means more exciting games for the future.
That's why I like the 6 better than the 8, because this is not, we know, man, this is not college baseball. This is not college basketball.
Yeah, it's not.
We've seen plenty 8 seeds beat a 1 seed in college basketball and college baseball. That 8 seed is not beating a number 1 seed. It's not happening, man. It's not happening.
It's easier for like a, you know, one of them, like a Texas State to upset like a bigger team than it is for like an 8 to beat a 1, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like, who would be the 8 this year? Let's say the 8 would be this particular year. Cincinnati's ranked 8. So let's just say Bama and Cincinnati play at first. Look, it's not happening.
It's not. I just don't see
it. I like the 16 because you can give the 1 and 2 seed buys.
Yeah.
The 3 can play the 6.
And that's a good game.
That could be a more competitive game. And the 4 can play the 5. And then the winner of those 2 games go and face the 1 and 2 seed. With that 18 playoff, it gets real shaky.
But that's what makes it so crazy too, is that you let those teams get beat up. You save up on Alabama and whoever else is number 2's energy. Now you're going into a slaughter game next week.
Right.
It's just, man. So somebody got to recruit. It all goes down to recruiting better. You know, we just got to out-recruit Alabama, and that's just a tough job. That's the off-season is the real season.
Let's get to let's close this out. I love the slant, man. We're really talking about the Power 5 look, the non-Power 5 look, and how it plays into this game. Desmond Ridder. We know Mike Denbrock, formerly on the Notre Dame coaching staff. He's the offensive coordinator over at Cincinnati. Great friends with Brian Kelly. You know him, Malik. Great
He
guy.
was
He was your offensive coordinator. And look, man, he tried to forewarn his quarterback, Desmond Ridder, about how loud it was going to get in Notre Dame Stadium on Saturday. And Desmond Ridder's response to his offensive coordinator, that's cool. I don't have to worry about that. It won't be loud for long.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Like,
Irish fans, everybody that's going to the game, there you go. There's your challenge.
Extra motivation. There you go.
There's your challenge. Be loud. That's it. We don't have to share a stadium with Wisconsin fans like we did last week. It doesn't have to be 50-50. It's all us. Make a difference in the game.
Yeah.
Make a difference.
He feels a certain way. Well, okay, that's cool. My whole thing is you still got to play. I don't have a problem with it. But after the game, I want to hear the same type of energy result in the outcome. You know, if you're going to be a player that's talking stuff, that's fine. But you got to also talk all the time. So we want to see what that talking is like after the game. But Coach Jim Brock is right in a way. You know, it gets loud when you don't think it will be. You know, obviously playing there, it's not as loud as maybe a Florida State. It's just a different type of loud, you know, where it's loud enough to where you can't really think straight. You know, it may not be loud to where you maybe can hear, but it's a lot going on, a lot happening, and you trying to think right on third down, and just the commotion and emotion of the game will make it a little tough. So I'm excited to see somebody that's confident going in, and this is why I say the defense is going to be challenged. You know, this is our best quarterback we're facing so far. We'll face another guy that's a draftable guy the next game. So let's see how we do with these top quarterbacks. You
know, Brian Kelly, I think his record is now. This is amazing. During his tenure, we talked about Notre Dame facing 4 to 5 next opponents will have bye weeks. Wasn't a problem against Wisconsin. Brian Kelly is something like 13-2 when teams have a bye week facing them, facing Notre Dame. Yeah. That's crazy. And honestly, that goes to like, yo, we're worried about us. If we do what we're supposed to do.
You coming to play us. We just see you as another team because every week is a big week for us.
Right.
You coming to play us as in you coming to daddy's house. You know, you didn't stay with your mom long enough. You got to come to dad's house. It's a different environment.
So once again, that is the slant. We hope you enjoyed it. We put Brian Kelly on the petty train because he's ultra petty.
He's driving the petty train right now.
Man, he's driving the petty train. We talked.
Yeah, he could be petty too. One more game for New Rockney.
Right.
He's undefeated still this season. He wanted to execute the offense first week. Now he's like, you know, we go in there and do what we got to do, man. We get better.
You know, we talked about alternative outcomes in the flow of the game, and we expect nothing less. We talked about this being a defining game for the career of Luke Fickell, and a program-defining game for Cincinnati, because if they lose, they're a 2-point favorite, 2.5-point favorite. If they lose double digits, or somehow this game turns into the same type of game it turned into last week in Soldier Field, I don't know if the program recovers from a respect standpoint. From a respect standpoint, we talked about that, and then we talked about Desmond Ridder trash talking. So all the components are there. All the components are there. We're just waiting for the teams, you know. But like I said,
you gotta pull up the South Bend, stop all the talking, come get us.
Who was the best trash talking team in the tunnel as an opponent when you were there?
I gotta say, Michigan. Michigan was more funny. They would talk. That's when Jabril Peppers was there.
He looked like he talked trash.
Yeah, he's gonna run his lips. But it was cool because we went and played them at the big house where it was like the most fans at that time at the game, and that was live, and they was talking because their tunnel was right there. You see it.
Right.
So they talk stuff then, and they talk stuff at Notre Dame. So it was cool. They're the biggest front runners in college football is Michigan, and then Michigan State's the second biggest. So I don't know what's up there close to Detroit. There's a bunch of front runners up there.
I think Jabril's from PA?
Yeah, he's from New Jersey.
He's from Jersey, yeah. I knew he's from that area. Michigan and Michigan State. I think back in the day, it probably Miami. The two games when Miami came in the tunnel, those are legendary.
Yeah, they just had so much to say. They had so much to say, so much they was waiting on.
Well, once again, that's the Slant. As always, follow us at Lucky Lefty Pod, Instagram and Twitter. We spin it different. The original Lucky Lefty, that dude right there. And go follow the YouTube channel. It's Lucky Lefty Podcast. Lucky Lefty Podcast. All of our great content. Subscribe. Hit the like button. Share the link on your Instagram, on your social media. Let people know.
I'm sharing every week.
Yeah. All right, for my guy, we'll have in a little bit, we'll be going into our full preview of this game, offense versus defense, vice versa for both teams, and get the 3 keys to a dub from Malik. We are the Lucky Lefty Podcast. Until next time, we bid you peace.